Hello, everyone. Hello, hello. Happy New Year. It is our first show in the new year. So, welcome to KAMDI Conversations. I am Tanya Hawley, your host today, and I'm so excited to be here once again. What a blessing it is to be with you. So, welcome to Thank you for joining us. I am Tanya Hawley. I am extremely excited to be here once again. What a blessing. Let me turn this down. Thank you for joining us. All right. So I would be remiss if I didn't say Happy Founders Day to my sorors of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated. So hang on one second. I'm having some technical difficulties. Delta Sigma Theta Sorority. Uh-oh. We're back. Sorry about that, guys. I hope everyone's still there. I think my guest is still here. Yes. So I said Happy New Year to sorors. Now let's get to business. I apologize for the technical situation, but I'm back and I'm ready to roll. So without further ado, I cannot wait for you all to talk to this person. Please help me welcome Grammy Award winner, writer, producer, businessman, manager, radio personality. I mean, what doesn't he do? Please help me welcome the one, the only, Mr. Jay King. Hey, Jay.
Hey, how are you, Tanya?
I'm great now that I got you here.
What I liked was how cool you were through the technical difficulties.
Oh, well, thank you, Jay, because I know you've been there, done that, and you're still doing it. So you've been through it all. So thank you for saying that. I'm sweating on the inside, but I'm good. Cool on the outside.
That's good. That's a good thing.
Thank you. Welcome to KAMDI Conversations. Anyone joining us, please make sure you give us your name. It may not show up on my StreamYard stream. So if you make a comment, just tell us where you are, what your name is, because I know you're all over. We've got fans of Unsung on here, Unsungeteers, and we have, of course, other people watching on YouTube and Facebook. So, Jay, welcome again. Happy New Year to you.
Happy New Year to you as well.
I have to tell you, I am quite impressed with everything I just said. As I was learning more about you, doing my research, I was truly amazed. I truly want to give you props for everything you've done, everything you've given us in entertainment. You are one talented man. Thank you so much for all you've done over the years.
Thank you. I think if I'm going to be honest,
please do.
I think we all possess a lot of talent, and the idea is to engage it. And so I tell people I'm the least talented person I know.
Really?
But I'm the hardest worker. I'm not the great singer, but what I sing is I'm going to make it right. I'm not the great writer, but when I write, I'm going to write it till it gets right, and that's just how my life has been. That I really explore. I explore myself. I'm always interested in what else is inside of me and what else I want to do. I just don't feel like there's anything that I can't do. But I don't think. But I think we're all that. I think all of us are the same thing. I think we're just afraid of ourselves oftentimes.
Wow, that's powerful, and that's a great way to start the show off in the new year. You're my first show in the new year.
Ah,
So this is awesome because what I heard you saying also in that, what I heard was it has a lot to do with your purpose and finding out your purpose and what you do with it.
well, I think the day that you win the race, and that race is the race to be a human being, because there's a whole bunch of sperm and eggs in that race,
Mm-hmm.
and when they hit, that's how me and you were made. So we won. There's a other. Can you imagine? You had some other. Because you don't even know what was happening during sperm school and egg school. You just hang. And then they say, we're gonna be buddies. We're gonna be friends. Y'all make friends and stuff. And then the race starts, and then boom, the egg and sperm meet, and then you and I come out. So the day that you win that race, you have to figure out what it is that you are going to do with this life ride, because it ain't that long. It's a very short life ride. If you live to be 80 years old, you only live in 29,200 days.
Wow, I never knew the days.
By the time you take away 8 hours a day for sleeping and 8 hours a day for working, you have 9,733 days for living, and that's if you live to be 80.
I'm just impressed that you got that number memorized.
I'm doing an interview right now. Can I call you as soon as I'm done?
How about that? Y'all, he's taking the call, always working.
No, because I had it. So I'm the president of the California Black Chamber.
Yes.
And I'm planning a retreat for the staff. And Gail Guest is she's a planner. That's what she does. And I told her to call me at 5:30 today.
Okay.
I forgot that I had this to do, because instead of giving her to Angie like I should do, and let Angie put it on the schedule, I try to boss Angie around. I should have just. It's all I got to call her.
That's okay. Yeah. You started at where I was going to end, telling us that you were president of the California Black Chamber of Commerce. Yeah. I was going to surprise everybody with that one, but we got that out.
I apologize. I'm messing up
okay.
already.
Let's see. We got a few people saying hello. Hi, John Cunningham. He's saying hello.
What's happening, Mr. Cunningham?
Leander Palmer, Jacksonville, Florida. Hello.
Hey. Hello, Jacksonville.
Teresa from Louisiana is here.
So what's happening? How you doing?
And Sac Summits. I'm not sure what that is, but you're saying I have an echo. I was trying to fix that. Hopefully that'll get better. That's
Stephanie. Now Stephanie's worked for me for almost 13 years, if not 13 years.
Oh, okay.
I fired Stephanie once.
You must have hired her back if she's working for you now.
She didn't. No, I fired her, and she told me I was having a bad day. And she was like, if you're having a bad day, I'm not going to let you mess up my day. I'll see you tomorrow.
I love it.
And and now she works. Now she runs the office for the chamber in Los Angeles.
Oh, wonderful. Okay.
She's the director of operations there.
Awesome. Well, Stephanie, thanks for joining us. So, Jay, let's start from the beginning, because there are people that may watch this later on or even now that may not know that much about you, and I want them to know about you. So can you take me back a few years and just tell me how you got started in this wonderful world of entertainment and music?
Well, if I take you all the way back, I was a dancer first. So I used to pop, bam, bam, bam. So that's how I started. And I played trumpet in high school. Went to the Air Force and got kicked out after 1 year.
You got kicked out of the Air Force, okay.
Yeah. And stayed in Anchorage, Alaska, which is where I was stationed. Mm-hmm. And decided I wanted to be a rapper, started a group called Frost, came back down to the lower 48 to California, where I'm from, and put out a record that went double wood. Would have been a hit if it would have been good.
I like double wood. I got to remember that. Not double platinum. Not double.
Double wood would have been a hit if it would have been good. And then I produced a record on a group called the Climax Social Club on my label J Records. The song was called Rumors, and I started selling this record out the back of my car. And the record became a massive hit. ended up selling 3.5 million in the United States, another 5 million outside the United States, and it launched my career. And from there, because they weren't signed under contract to me, they signed a deal with somebody else, and I created a group called Club Nouveaux, which was the new club, formerly of a different club, now a better club. And Club Nouveau released Jealousy.
Ah, yes. Okay. Now I'm gonna pause you for a minute. I got a couple questions. First, you just kind of just glided over the fact that you had a record label and how that happened. Um, you went from the group to all of a sudden having a record label. Tell us what went into that, because a lot.
Well, what's interesting about a record label is you just make a label. So back then you had Mogul Records. Mogul Records was a small manufacturer. You could go there and manufacture 1,000 12 inches or 1,000 7-inch records for $1,100-$1,200.
Okay.
And so when I did the Battle Beat as Frost, I did it with a label called Triangle, which I met through Confunction as a songwriter. It was their management. And basically, they just created this label and they put our record out and it didn't do anything. And so I said, well, I want to start my own label. And this guy named Randy Rand, God rest his soul, said, you need enough money to press up 1,000 records, which was $1,100. And then you had to go do radio. And so I put out 3 records. At the same time, I put out The Active Boys, New Choice, and Time X Social Club. And 2 of them was on J Records, 1 of them was on King 4 Records. And basically starting a label just meant that I just put those names on a sleeve. It wasn't, that's how we was doing. So it wasn't really a label. And it was interesting because I didn't know what I was doing. Okay. And had I known what I was doing, I would have never done it. So sometimes you have to go into this thing blind, and fearless. Yeah. Because if you know what you're supposed to do, and if you know everything, you probably won't do it because you know it won't work, because all of the tools necessary to make it work you don't have in front of you.
Right.
And I didn't have all the tools necessary to make it work. But gumption is something. And belief and desire and discipline. So I'm a non-drinker, non-smoker, non-drugger, non-clubber, heterosexual male. So I'm not even supposed to be in the music business.
Right. And I was reading that in your bio that you have never done drugs. No. You have never.
And I'll be 60 on the 27th of this month. So it ain't going to happen anytime soon.
That is awesome. Yeah. How did you stay away from that? That is not easy to do in the entertainment world.
Well, it is if you never did it. It's not it's not easy to do if you flirt with it. If it was curious to you. It was never curious to me. I never wanted to be like anybody else. I wanted to be like me. I didn't want to do what other people was doing. I wasn't a fallen leader kind of guy. I didn't hang out with a whole bunch of people. Mm-hmm. Very regimented and what I wanted, and and didn't come from a lot of money. Mm-hmm. So some might say even poor, but I always had big ideas and big dreams and big thoughts. I always see myself in a big light. And so when you start doing drugs and stuff, I think that I've seen some great people get real foggy.
Yes.
For the drugs and alcohol.
Yes.
So I only seen the lights.
Now, Jay, who were I'm kind of going back, but I want to know who inspired you to be in the music or entertainment? Because you said you started off as a dancer and then you started doing some other things. So who were your inspirations, music inspirations?
So when you're a kid, when I was growing up, I'm a bit older than you, so you don't know this. But back in the day, in black neighborhoods and black households, they had the hi-fi. And the hi-fi was this long record player.
Yeah.
They had albums in one part of them. They had 7 inches in the other, and and they would play music. And so when your mother and when your mom and them had company, they wake you up if you could do the James Brown, and I could do the James Brown. So they wake me up. I do the James Brown for their friends, and I get a quarter. And so it probably started right there, right?
I love it.
But my mom and dad always played music. I've always been around music, so it was just in me.
Okay.
And then when I start going through my history, I could see my uncle Saunders King. They called him the first king of the blues.
Mm.
He had a record in the 1940s called the SK Blues. That was a million-selling record. He went to prison for marijuana, and because he was dating a judge's daughter, it was a white woman, and she jumped off the Golden Gate Bridge because he broke up with her.
Oh,
Music has always been in my circumference. My father was a singer, but he never sang in a group. He could just sing.
Okay.
So I suspect it's just in the genes, to some degree.
Okay. Very good. So thank you for sharing about the record label, the real deal about your first record label.
Most record labels, people, that do these record labels, everybody want to be a big deal. They want to be, I've got a record label and all this. It's not much to it ever. It's just a whole bunch of hallelujah.
Okay, I love that. I love that you share that, because you're right. That's the conception of everything. When we misconceive that, we think, oh, they got a record label, and DJ King is like, no, it's not all that. Okay,
it's not.
Okay, so you did Rumors, and then you left the Tonic Social Club, and Club Nouveaux started, the new club. I remember that. I remember hearing about that. And we love the song. So tell us what happened after that. So we're at
Jealousy becomes the first record that we release.
Right.
And we released that July, August of 86.
Mm-hmm.
And then Jealousy goes to number 8 on the R&B charts. And then we release Situation Number 9 in November. Situation Number 9 goes to number 4 on the R&B charts. And then we go out on the road. And we're out on the road with Bobby Brown on his King of Stage album. And Ready for the World, they have Let Me Love You Down on that album. And we have the Life, Love, and Pain album. And we start off as the opening act.
Right. Okay.
By the time we get to our third or fourth date, Lean on Me enters the pop chart at number 43. In the black charts at number 88.
Okay.
And Lean on Me takes off.
Straight
and
to
so now we have Rumors, Jealousy, Situation Number 9, and Lean on Me.
And what was the time span for this, Jay?
From November 1986 to February of 1987.
Wow.
Come out.
You literally blew up in a year.
Yeah. And then in April, May of 87, we released Why You Treat Me So Bad.
Okay.
And Why You Treat Me So Bad becomes a big record.
Yes, they're all just classics.
And then we release Heavy on My Mind in 88.
Okay.
You're so heavy on my mind
I remember
all
that.
the time.
Oh, yes.
Heavy on my mind all the time. And then we do the Madonna Who's That Girl soundtrack, Step by Step, in 1988.
So did Club Nouveau, or did you do that?
Club Nouveau.
Okay.
So in the meantime, I'm producing the Michael Cooper album, Love Is Such a Funny Game, the first single to Prove My Love, which becomes a big record.
Yes.
And me, Denny, and Tommy are producing the Teresa album on BMG, Broken Puzzle. And the song is called Last Time. So now I have label deals with Warner Brothers and BMG. And then I end up doing a deal with EMI. So I'm at 3 different labels. at the same time.
Now, how does that work, Jake? How can you be at 3 different labels at the same time?
Because my deal with Warner Brothers said that I have to give them a first look deal. They get to look at the artist first.
Okay.
And if they don't take the artist, I can do anything I want to do with it.
I see.
My deal with BMG was I could do any 3 acts I wanted. I pick it.
Oh.
My deal with EMI was just for one artist that I had done already, that I'd done. So they were all 3 different types of deals.
Okay.
And you know, I really ushered into a new way to look at deals. I was before Jimmy and Terry.
Mm-hmm.
I was before LA and Babyface.
Yes.
I was before Andre Harrell, and I was before Leor and Russell. Even though all of them have been in the music business longer than me and were older than me, none of them had done independent records. I mean, they're on their own labels until I did King J Records, and that's how everybody else falls.
Oh, very good. That's good to know. I like how you just explained that, Jay. Thank you. That's some good stuff. Before I go to my next question or we move on, let me read a couple of the comments that they're coming in. Hey, Karen Lynette. She says hello. She's on Fans of Unsung, one of the moderators. Thanks for joining us. John says he's 19 years sober. It's definitely not easy in the business.
Yes.
Congratulations, John, on your 19 years.
Absolutely.
Teresa says we had a high five. And then we have some other people just saying hello. Okay, great. So I want to back up for just a minute and give a shout out to Michael Cooper, who is my buddy. I just love him to pieces, and I know you did his solo. I know, for those of you who don't know who Michael Cooper is, of course, he's with the group Confunction. Most of you know who that is. And but I didn't know till this, preparing for this, that you were the one to sign Michael Cooper.
Yes, I signed Michael Cooper, but I was a Michael Cooper fan. So I lived in Vallejo. So I used to wait for Michael Cooper to come outside so I could wave at him.
Oh, okay.
I put lyrics on Michael Cooper's doorsteps before.
Wow.
My first demo was recorded by Michael Cooper.
Oh, wow. You did have a true relationship with him.
So
awesome.
When Michael Cooper was going through changes with Confunction, I said, come on, let's do your own record.
Awesome.
And so I did the Michael Cooper, the first Michael Cooper album.
Now, I read in your bio that Felton, who's also with Confunction, and Michael were the ones that encouraged you to do your own record?
Michael and Felton always were encouraging and supportive. And you know, they were like big brothers to me.
That's wonderful. I just wanted to make sure I said that because everyone is not supportive in this business.
Well, you know, we don't live in a world that's supportive.
That's true.
It's not business and not. It's just, you know, human beings have a tough time being human sometimes, right?
Oh, I love that. You had a good quotes. I had to come back and watch this recording so I could write down all your quotes. I like that. That is so true, Jay.
Yeah, we are some interesting. I find, you know, one day me and Stephanie was talking, and she said, "Do you know how you look at people?" She said, "I always look people up and down," and I don't know that I do it, but I'm all because human beings are really interesting to me. I just think that human beings are a lot of times are afraid of themselves, so that's why they're so afraid of everything else. Because there's no way you could be afraid of anything if you knew you. But I don't think we even know how to explore ourselves.
But Jay, go ahead.
No, what are you going to ask me?
I was just saying, but what makes you look them up and down?
I don't know. I don't know that I do that. She said that that's what I do.
You don't even realize it. You just check it out.
I'm just taking. I'm taking a snapshot of who's in front of me.
Okay.
You said whether it's male or female, I do the same thing.
Okay. Very good. Before we continue the story, I had another question for you. Out of all of those performances, do you have one that's most memorable to you?
Okay, so Jackson, Mississippi, I believe it is. It's Zap, Um, it's Luther. It's Cameo. It's uh, um, Shirley Murdoch. I mean, it's a bunch of us, and it's 90,000 people,
Wow.
and we have and we're at the. I mean, we're at the pinnacle where people are just, and we're only on stage for 30 minutes, and in 30 minutes we do rumors, jealousy, situation number 9, heavy on my mind, why you treat me so bad, and lean on me, and the whole stadium is going crazy. 90,000 people. And the next day, when they wrote their review, they said Club Nouveau was one of the most outstanding acts on the bill. And, that. And then one time we opened up for Whitney Houston. It was Jonathan Butler, us, and Whitney Houston. We played in Indianapolis. And this is 1987. And we're supposed to do 12 dates with Whitney.
Mm-hmm.
We do this one date, and they kick us off the rest of them. Because the newspaper the next morning said, Whitney Houston needs to take lessons from Valerie Watson on how to move a crowd. And they called Valerie the Tinkerbell of Funk.
The chief of?
The Tinkerbell of Funk.
Oh, Tinkerbell. I like that. Tinkerbell of Funk.
And we really, I mean, we had some really outstanding performances in the Boston Gardens and the Commons. We had some, we really prided ourselves on really putting on good shows.
And unfortunately, I never got to see you all. But is there still hope? Are you all still performing?
Absolutely. We're still working. Yeah.
Good. I thought you were. We'll get to that later.
Be back out on the road starting March 12th.
All right. We're going to talk about that and make sure we leave everybody if you have some of those dates. But I just want to go back. You said they kicked you off the tour because of that review.
Well, because
Whitney looked bad.
Yeah, because because Whitney was the headliner. You don't
right.
You don't put people on a tour that's gonna make you look bad.
Yeah. Oh wow, that's a great story too. Thank you for sharing that, Jay. Okay, I don't know where we left off with part of the story, but if you can continue from there, I think you on tour, I guess, is where we left off. So what comes after that?
Well, you're touring and you're making records, and then for me it became because I had so many other groups that I worked with,
right,
and so many other things I was developing, and then I'm a young man. I'm only 25, 26 when all this is happening.
Okay.
And
wow.
And I've never been high before. But I have been on an ego trip.
Okay.
So
okay.
So after a little while, you really think you the shit.
Okay.
Because enough people tell you the shit. First you say,
start believing it.
I'm not the shit. Then one day you say, I'm the shit. And one day I went to Warner Brothers because I didn't like the way I felt like they wouldn't treat me good enough for all the money I was bringing to them. So I go to Mo Austin, who's the chairman of the board of Warner Brothers, and I tell Mo I'm going to beat his ass. And Mo Austin is sitting at his desk, and he's got a pen. And as I'm telling him how I'm going to beat his ass, and I'm talking all the good black shit, he's hitting his pen like this up against his desk, and he's just looking at me. And I'm going crazy and everything. And then he stopped. And he said, my fights aren't physical. And at the time, Why You Treat Me So Bad had crossed over into the pop charts.
Mm-hmm.
And Casey Kasem said, Club Nouveau comes in highest in the charts, number 39. And then the next week, Casey Kasem said, Club Nouveau runs out of steam.
Oh.
Because Mo Austin's fights weren't physical. What he was telling me is, you don't want to fight me. You can't win this fight. And so then that's when my battle with Warner Brothers started.
Okay.
And part part of it was I shouldn't have been at a major label. I had done all the hard work. When I did Rumors, I had broke through already. Somebody telling me what to do wasn't going to be good for me anymore. But because, you know, there's things you don't know. You listen to lawyers and accountants and people that are going to that are going to tell you what you think is good for you. And really what they're doing is telling you what's good for them, because they want to get as much money as they can. And when it were a major, they get all that money.
Right.
And so had I done it over again, I would have never signed with a major. I would have continued to be independent.
Okay.
I would have continued to control who I was and what I did the way I wanted to. But Mo Austin taught me one of the greatest lessons of my life. And so I ended up with Warner Brothers another few years before I could get off the label. And then I finally was able to get off Warner Brothers and start over again. And I never made commercial records after that. So if you listen to my records after that, there's songs, there are albums like Everything Is Black, A New Beginning, Consciousness. It was just the things that I wanted to say. I wasn't driven by trying to have a hit record.
Okay.
Driven by trying to say what I wanted to say. But then I made hit records with other artists. So I managed other labels. I started the Independent Label Coalition.
Yes.
So we did Tootsie Roll with the 69 Boys.
Oh, wow. Everybody knows that one.
Yeah, did Ghetto Jam with Domino. Did Illegal Business with Mac Ma and Mac Dre and Ray Love, all that stuff out of the Bay Area. Did You Don't Hear Me Though and Humps for the Boulevard with Rodney O. Okay. And did Blind to It All with Gary Taylor, and really just started doing more of the business side of it. And Art Madison, one of my favorite albums with a guy named Art Madison, Into the AM, as close as you're going to get to Marvin Gaye ever. Art Madison, if you ever want to hear a great record, I did it in 93. Art Madison's Into the AM is an incredible record even today.
What's the name of it, Jay?
Into the AM.
Into the AM. Okay. So you have done so much. So we went from, you had your groups. I guess when that kind of ended, you were still managing other groups, and then you were doing record labels. And I know you were, I guess, sort of a consultant for record labels.
Yes.
And helping them. What did that entail? Because that was a whole nother business, wasn't it?
Yeah. Well, record labels, you have to have a distribution deal in place. You have to have manufacturing deals. You got to know what it costs for shrink wrapping, and you got to negotiate the pricing. You have to do all the marketing and the advertising. You have to negotiate the deal, between whether it's a street team or a guy working radio or club. There's a lot of components to it, and oftentimes I would help athletes that started their own labels, and they would have Ray and Mike run their labels,
right?
And then they get in trouble, and then they'd have to call me to come unravel everything so I could get out of it. Because if you're a billionaire and you want to be a millionaire, get in the music business, not knowing what you're doing.
I love it. Okay. But that just says how much knowledge you have, because you've done all of that. Let me add, there's a question here. Hey, Sharon, thanks for joining us. She has a question for you.
Okay.
Do you find that streaming is helpful for indie artists to obtain creative power, or does it hurt an indie artist obtaining power and control?
Streaming is one of the most important things to any artist, indie or otherwise. And so where artists when people in the industry get short-sighted, is on how much money they get for streaming, because it's hundreds of a penny. But don't concern yourself with that. Concern yourself with the fact that it's a brand new revenue stream that will grow and grow and grow and grow. And that has been the hardest part of the music business, is getting them to recognize new revenue streams and paying us for them. So when videos came out and video sold, we didn't make money from videos, even though they played on the air.
Right.
So we had to pay for them being made. It cost us money out of our budgets. Record company would charge us, so we didn't get when we sold a record. That record sale money would go towards paying for that part of that video budget, but we never could make money off of those until they started making those videos royalty based. So I say to all artists, no matter how small the royalty stream, make sure that you have multiple revenue streams. That let's make it. Don't worry about it. The money will catch up. Sound exchange. When we first started getting sound exchange checks, they were only a couple of $100 a quarter. Now you get sound exchange checks, and they're tens of thousands, sometimes 20s of thousands of dollars a quarter. So, but we allowed the revenue stream to grow up. So no, it can only help you whenever, whether you see a royalty or not. The marketing, the advertisement, the getting your information out there is what you want.
That's some good stuff right there. Thank you, Sharon, for that question. Hello, Cherie. Cherie is saying hello. I think this is Karen Lynette saying my brother's band backed Club Nouveaux a few years back in Bethesda, Maryland. So I guess you all did it.
Oh yes, that's right. When we came to Bethesda, we had a band in Maryland that set in for us, and me, Val, and Sam.
And she actually did background vocals on that show, she said. So Karen, and I'm pretty sure that's Karen. All right. Yes, she's a very talented singer as well. So I don't know who's saying this. I don't have your name, but they're saying my sound exchange checks don't look like that. LOL. I don't know who that is.
Time. Give it time.
Very good. Hi, Grace. Thanks for joining us. Okay. Yes, that was Karen. Okay. All right, Jay. Thank you for that tidbit. I appreciate it. That's some good nuggets because I always ask the question, what advice would you give a new aspiring artist or someone that wants to be in the music business? And you've already given quite a bit. Is there anything else that you want to throw in there before we go to our next question?
No, you can. I'm going to follow your lead, and you tell me.
Okay, so that you've already this whole show you're giving such wonderful advice, so we don't have to specifically ask that because you already given so much, and I appreciate that because I want my shows to help those that might be interested from learning from legends like you. So you have done so much, Jay. I'm looking at my notes. You also worked on a movie I saw. Have you done several? I know it was this one particular.
I did one movie called, well, I've worked on a couple of different movies, but I did a movie called Love Beat the Hell Out of Me with the Goldsby brothers. The Goldsby brothers were two African-American brothers, Paul and Kennedy Goldsby. And a friend of mine, they were looking for money. They needed, that they ran out of money making this film. This was a film with Terrence Howard in it. Before Terrence Howard was Terrence Howard.
Right. Okay.
Okay. And Glenn Plummer. And so my friend Clyde calls me and says, he's an actor, and he says, man, these guys, they need money, Jay. And I told him they should meet you. And I was living in the Bay Area, and I had a house in LA, so I was going back and forth. I just happened to be in LA. No, I was in the Bay. And I said, listen, I'm coming to LA in a couple of weeks. And he said, no, Jay, you got to come now. They need you now. If they don't get this money, everything all the work we've done is going to go down the drain. So I said, if they want me to come, they got to fly me in. So they fly me and my guy, D-Rob, we fly in and we watch this movie. And the movie it's a very cool, dark kind of movie, but I like it. Mm-hmm. And he says that they need $50,000 or the movie, by the next day, or the movie won't. Oh,
wow.
They're going to lose their footage, whatever.
Okay.
So, we can't get a contract in the next day. So I fly home and I tell them I'm going to give you the money. And, so I'm going to put it in your account. So he said, well, we don't have a contract. I said, if you take my money, we got a contract. So we'll deal with it at that point. And you
Okay.
want me to send this money? So they said, yeah. So I sent the money. And that's how I got into this film. And so I thought it was only $50,000. I don't know a piece. Before I know it, I'm in it close to $500,000.
Oh, okay.
But the movie, and so now I've spent all this money, and one of my friends says, "Jay, nobody um, films don't make money, man. You're not gonna get your money back." So I wrote it off. I was like, okay, whatever. I made a movie. I'm an executive producer. My name is on it. No big deal. And I leave it alone.
Okay.
And then 18 months later, Paul Goldsby calls me and says, "Hey man, what's your bank account?" And I said, "What?" He said, "What's your bank account number? Do you want? I got a check. Do you want me to send it to you, or you want to put it in your account?" I said, "Check for what?" He said, "For the movie." And my first check was for $83,000. And I found out. So this new technology called DVD came out, and so this is when Blockbuster Video and stuff. This is 96, 95, 96. Blockbuster Video is still, the big thing. And um, Blockbuster Video bought 50,000 videos for us, and they're renting it out. But then when this new DVD thing comes out, it goes crazy. So we go from losing money to doubling our money.
Oh, wow.
And so I made that movie. Then they made another movie, but I didn't put money in it this time. But I let them use my name. And I never put money in another movie again because everybody I talked to told me how lucky I was that I made money on my first movie.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is very interesting, Jake. And you never did another movie again?
I did other movies, but not where I put my money in.
Okay. I don't blame you.
I would lend my name to it. I would take a percentage from using my name, but not my money, because the film business is a very tricky business. Mm-hmm. And if you don't know, and then I started doing film valuations for companies like Polychrome and Cold Black with Jeff Flanagan, where I would evaluate the film, say what I thought, what he could do and everything. So I got into that business for a while. And I did the first and probably the only VOD deal between Polychrome and Cold Black. And when I did the deal, that got Cold Black a six-figure advance. And when I did that deal, my lawyer said, nobody's giving that kind of advance. I said, the deal's already done. I just need you to do the work and make sure I get my money. And when she saw, it's a sister, when she saw that the deal was done, she called me. She said, how did you do that? So it was the only time that I know that on a VOD deal that a high six-figure advance was paid to a small Black company. And if you know Jeff Flanagan, he will verify what I'm saying. Jeff Flanagan, who is at Kevin Hart's Laugh Out Loud station, but Jeff Flanagan owned Cold Black, and before that he was with you heard me? What's his name? Master P. And before that, Jeff Flanagan and Mike Campbell were concert promoters, and that's where I met.
Okay, wow, Jay, you got some good stuff. You're a wealth of knowledge. I'm loving it. And you have done so many things, and the first to do a lot of things. That's what I'm recognizing and talking to you. The first to do a lot of things that we, the average person, just didn't know about.
And I think I was not a good person for the music business. They didn't like the music business because I was a renegade to the music business. I was not an artist with a manager. Okay. So the record business has this hierarchy. Okay. So everybody has. So I was uncontrollable. And so maybe I was the baby kid of the music business because I just didn't follow the rules. I just did it the way I wanted to do it.
But you gave us some great music. Absolutely. Grace is asking, she said to ask you that the part that was written into, ask him if that's the part that was written into his film, Gale in the Storm.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. For those of you who don't know, that is Karen White is in Gale in the Storm. This her movie. So
Yes.
okay.
Which I thought was really a great. It was a great idea. Um, and I loved Karen playing the part. I wish, from an execution standpoint, that they had gotten more a more what word am I looking for?
I'm not sure.
A more experienced crew,
Oh,
because I thought that it was just really, really great, and there were and had they had and there were some great scenes in there. Had
yeah.
the sound, when you're looking at a movie, sound becomes really important. You know,
Mm.
the sound of the speaking parts and stuff. I wish they had a more experienced crew working.
Oh,
On
I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
Yes, I enjoyed the movie. I did see it, and I enjoyed it as well. Um, with Derek also was in it. Derek Muhammad.
Yes.
Yes. Um, let me see. Do you hold any master classes on the internet for understanding the music business for behind the scenes for newbies?
No, I don't. Because because if I did it, I would do it for free.
Oh,
I,
well,
I just think it's I just think that um, sometimes people make themselves way more important than what they are. So,
yes, that's so true.
so I don't think I'm that important. You know what I mean? But if somebody said, "Hey, would you, if I get some folks together, could you talk to us?" Absolutely. You
But
know,
I think the information you have is important, that a lot of people could benefit
yeah,
from that.
and that may be so, but it's just sometimes people. I don't know if I don't know. It's just like I said, I just think that if somebody said, "Hey, can I talk to you? Can
Understood. Yes.
reach out to you?" People call me all the time. People hit me up on Instagram and ask me questions, and I give my phone number
Mm-hmm.
because all that text and shit ain't good for me. Ask me the question, let's get through it. So I don't mind, you know, making Alvin Williams, who is who has a film company and does a lot of different things. Alvin Williams, he's in Atlanta. He and his wife are building a film studio right now. When I first met him, I met him in the Bahamas. I spoke on a panel, and he said, "Can I have your number?" And I said, "Yes," and I gave him my number. And one day I'm in the car, me and D-Rob, and we're rolling. And so he calls me, and I answer the phone. And he said, "Can I speak to Jay King?" And I said, "This is Jay King." And then he got real quiet. I said, "Hello?" And he said, I didn't expect you to answer the phone. Why would I give you my number? And he said, "It's the first time somebody like you gave me your phone number that you answer." And I said, "That don't make no goddamn sense for me to give you a phone number that I'm not going to answer. That don't make no good sense to me." So that was 1996.
Oh, okay.
06, 16. That was 26 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Me and Alvin Williams are still friends. And I'll tell you another story about Alvin Williams. Alvin Williams started doing a lot of different things, and he ended up working on the Busy Bone album. And Busy Bone, he ended up with 4 songs on the Busy Bone album. And Alvin called me one day and said, "Jay, I want to make a publishing deal for this Busy Bone album." I said, "Okay." He said, "I want to make it with Billy Michelle." I said, "Okay." He said, "Would you help me?" I said, "Absolutely." "You want me to give you Billy's number?" He said, "No, I want you to make the deal." I said, "Okay." He said, "How much you going to charge me?" I said, 5%. And he said, "No, I don't want to pay 5%. So I said, "Okay, 3%. And he said, "No." I said, "Then you pick whatever you want to pay." He said, "I'm going to pay you 20%.
Oh.
And
how nice.
Because I was always, me and Alvin were just cool. He didn't have to give me anything. He really didn't need me to make the deal. He could have made the deal. But what I learned in my career is that when you make good relationship with people, when you're helping people, not because you're going to get something from it, but just because you help people.
Sincerely.
There are some people, not everybody's going to do that. Some people are going to get brand new on you and do Hollywood swinging.
Oh, absolutely.
But there are going to be some people that just love you through and through. Rodney was another guy like that with me. Rodney O was always connecting me with something, and so I'm always connecting Rodney with something. That's the beauty of,
Valuable lessons right there.
yeah.
Because relationships, and it's not always all about the money. The money will come.
No, the money.
The money,
if you do this for money, you probably won't make any.
right?
If you do this because you love it, you might make a good living at it.
Yes, very good nuggets. So, and that question, by the way, that I just read was from Sharon. And Sharon, the last, she was, I think she had a comment in here. Oh, thank you for sharing your information and knowledge. People like you open doors and windows for people all over. For people,
somebody opened the door and the window for me. You know, the Michael Coopers, the Randy Rands, the John Browns. You know, so you don't do this in a vacuum. You know,
pay it forward.
Yeah, you better pay the debt. And my mama said, if you do things for people and then you talk about doing them, you ain't doing shit but blowing yourself up. That's
Very
what my mama said. She said, when you do things for people,
I love it.
They'll tell you. When you got to tell people what you're doing for, you ain't blowing yourself up.
I love it. Now we're getting ready to run out of time, but before we do, we got about 10 minutes left. Okay. So I want to make sure, I want to play my little game I told you about.
Okay.
But before I do that, everybody's got to hear or just tell them about your new single. I've heard it. I love it. You got my friends on there. I know everybody you have on the remix, with Jay Henry, yes, Lynn Jones, Lenny Williams. I've interviewed all of them, have been a guest on KAMDI Konversations. I love them all. I love the song. So tell them about it.
Okay. So the album is called Soulful Bossa Nova. The single is called All Your Love, All Night Long. And there's different versions of it. There's one version with just me. There's one version with Darius McCrary and my cousin Anthony A.K. King. And that's called the Garden version.
Okay.
There's one called the Bear version, B-A-R-E. And that's the one with Lenny, Jay Henry, and Glenn. And it's produced and written by myself and Derek D.O.A. Allen, who produced the last Kim album and who's a super producer out of Sacramento. Wonderful guy, like a little brother to me. And we, the Soulful Bossa Nova, the music is what we call cool R&B. So if you really want to hear some really cool, sexy music, this one magazine called it the Sensual Album of the Year. If you like beautiful music, it's samba, jazz, bossa nova, and R&B kind of mixed into one. J. King, Soulful Bossa Nova.
And guys, you really want to check it out. I've heard a few of them. It's nice. I love it. So before we go, I still got a few minutes. So, you know, everybody has been here before, knows I like to play our little game where I'm going to name an artist and you tell me the first thing that comes to mind. So I'm going to name a few and let's see what you come up with. Okay. First one is, it's interesting because you named a few of these people. Madonna.
Bad.
Is that a good bad?
Yes. Madonna, let me tell you why Madonna's bad. Because Madonna was a girl who they said would only have one hit album. And Jelly Bean, they attributed Madonna's success to Jelly Bean Benitez being the producer. And so, and they said that she was going to be a one-hit wonder. And then Madonna came back with that second album and did 8 million albums. She went from 6 million to 8 million and then to over 10 million. That's a bad girl. And Madonna continuously remade herself. And if there's ever an artist that is copying Madonna, it's Beyonce.
Ah, okay. Very good. Okay. James Brown.
The greatest soul singer ever when it comes to soul singer and funk.
Very good. Glenn Jones.
Smooth.
That's a good word for Glenn.
With a range that's out of this world.
Love it. Earth, Wind, and Fire.
Phenomenal. Married music together, just blended music like no group before it. The way it took African rhythms, jazz movements, and R&B and pop signatures, to create a sound and then move that sound from every iteration. And that's hard to do in a business that's ever changing.
Okay. How about Whitney Houston? You had talked about her.
Magic. Whitney Houston was magic. Um, and and an angel from a vocal standpoint. She could really do anything with her voice. She one of those rare instruments. Nobody could be Riri, but she was right there with her. But Aretha is the greatest of them all. But she right there with Aretha. She's in that same class.
Which Aretha happened to be the next one on my list.
Aretha. Beyond.
Oh, that's a good word. Okay.
Aretha was beyond anything human. She really was the vibration of music, and whether it was the pain or the exploration, because she was all of it. Nobody come close.
And did you have the opportunity to meet? I know any of the artists. Actually, probably all of them. I'm guessing you have met because you already said Whitney. And okay, so that these were good ones for you because you've met and worked with some of them. I already know.
I don't know if me and Glenn have met. We may have met, but I've seen Glenn. I love his work. You know, Derek Allen is the one that made the connection.
Okay. Oh yes, I remember Glenn mentioned that. Okay, very good. I have to tell you that both Glenn and Gregory Williams from Switch told me to give you a shout out for them.
Oh, I love Greg. Greg is my guy.
Mine too.
Greg used to live around the corner from me in LA.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so he used to come to the house and hang out with me.
Yes, he told me, tell him I said, hey, and I affectionately call him Uncle Greg. That's my buddy. So yes, I had to make sure we gave him a shout out. I didn't know if he was going to make it, which I don't think he did. So we are about to end. I got a couple more comments I want to read to you. Karen was saying artists today are not paying it forward and opening the door. That's the struggle. Thank you, Jay. So she's thanking you.
Because we live in it ain't just the artists. We live in a very selfish world. The world ain't paying it forward. That's why you got so many people struggling and starving. We are very selfish motherfuckers. And we knew that when COVID happened and we would buy everything off the shelf as opposed to making sure that our most vulnerable people in marginalized neighborhoods would have at least access to food and toiletries and such. So we live in a very destructive time. Mankind ain't kind to man today.
It's unfortunate too. Well, Jay, I just want to thank you so much. It has been my pleasure having you here and having this little talk. I want you to come back because you're just a wealth of knowledge, and I'm sure we got a whole bunch more we could talk about.
Anytime you just let Angie know, she'll set it up. And
shout out to Angie. Thank you for helping making this happen. And you have a birthday coming up, so I want to wish you a happy early birthday.
January 27th.
All right. Happy early birthday to you. Enjoy every minute. Every day is a blessing, and certainly birthdays are. So enjoy it. I want everybody to support Jay, support our legends, and make sure you download. Where can they download or find your music?
They can go, it's everywhere, but you can go to my website too, jayking.me, JAYKING.me. I'm the official Jay King on Instagram, and you can go anywhere, Spotify and iTunes, wherever, and Jay King, Soulful Bossa Nova, BOSSANOVA, Soulful Bossa Nova.
And what we didn't get to is the Jay King Network, so they can also hear you, right?
Every morning from 8 to 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, thejkingnetwork.com, Kings in the Morning. It's crazy, y'all. So you got to be ready for it.
Now, and what time is that? Pacific time? What time did you say?
Pacific Standard Time, 8 a.m. from 8 to 10, which is from 11 to 1 your time.
Right. So I need to tune in. And you got to come back because we'll talk all about that. We didn't even get to that. We talked about so many things. So I still got a few more things that we didn't hit on. So
okay, well, I'll come back. Let me know when.
Thank you, Jay. Well, everybody, thank you for joining us. Have a wonderful evening. Make sure you follow me also at the KAMDI Group and subscribe to my YouTube channel so you can see all of the legends, all of the entertainers that join us on KAMDI Conversations. Have a wonderful evening, and we will see you next week when my guest is Gerald Austin. See you next Thursday. Bye, everybody.
Bye.